Welcome back to Showtime College Football. I'm your host, Chase Davidson, alongside my favorite co-host, Chase Sned.
Let's go. Let's go.
We are back talking about the hottest ACC title race we have seen in years. We're filming this just after week 1 of college football, and we are quite impressed that the ACC might be back. Isn't that right, Sned?
It might just be right. Beginning of the season, a lot of people are like, it's kind of just going to be Clemson this year. Maybe Georgia Tech or SMU will give them a run for their money. But we got a few teams we want to talk about today. I'll start with SMU. Took them 4 decades to get back to being towards the top of college football. I know all of the SMU faithful are happy. The Pony Express are back. And looking at the last few years, you can't question SMU scoring. They've been top 15 the last 6 years, and they finished number 8 the last 2. And they don't have a battle for starting quarterback like they did last year with Stone and Jennings. Those first 3 weeks were kind of sloppy. And Jennings last year, even with only half the game those first 3 weeks, still posted up over 3,000 yards and 28 passing touchdowns, and then even more on the ground. And to add to that, they got the number 1 back from UCLA, who's put up 1,700 yards and 12 touchdowns these last couple seasons. But the key part of their offense, I think, is in their tight end position. They have 2 candidates for the Mackey Award, best tight end in college football. There's only 4 schools like that, and they're one of them. And they got Hibner and Maryland, who both did very well last year. Hibner came in for Maryland as he got hurt, but both put up great stats in the few games they both played. And they've already proven they can make the playoff. They made it before Florida. They made it before USC, Nebraska, Wisconsin. All these big schools over the last couple of decades, they made it before them, to where it's safe to say the Pony Express is back, and they just keep bringing in more recruits and transfers. They do have a few big games coming up in just a couple weeks, 3 weeks actually, on the road against TCU, who just won 48-14 against Bill Belichick's North Carolina. And they also have Clemson on the road in ACC play, but they do get Miami and Louisville at home, to where we'll definitely see how their ACC schedule and record turned out after having a very weak schedule in the ACC last year.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with the Pony Express rolling once again. The only reason I have any doubts is because this ACC race is red hot. Now, for your context, we are filming this after week 1. I have already said it. But the reason I'm talking about that is because I'm going to be talking about the Florida State Seminoles. Yes, I think this Florida State team is real. We all had our doubts. They went 2-10 last year. We're well aware they went 2-10. We are extremely well aware. The entire country knows what happened last year. However, I don't care how sloppy that Alabama team looked. Florida State went down and took them to the cleaners in the trenches. Castellanos has got a great dual threat. Oh, great game. Great game. Listen, with all due respect, this is not the SEC. This team doesn't need to be the number 1 team in the country right now to roll and go into the ACC championship. Their schedule is fairly lenient. Now they do play Miami. They got Clemson. It's a tough one, but remember, those are the big games they got to look for. Other than that, they avoid most of the big dogs. Listen, these guys, they recruit like a blue blood. When this locker room has their crap together, they are immediately ACC title contenders. Immediately. This is Florida State. This is not Virginia Tech. No offense, my guy. This is not Syracuse. It's not Boston College. This is Florida State. And Florida State is in the ACC title race until proven different. And they proved it on Saturday. And I'm excited to see what they do this season. Wanted to give a quick shout out to the guys over at SeatGeek for helping us out. Use our code SHOWTIMECFB for $20 off your next ticket purchase. Talking about all college football games. Going to Texas A&M, South Carolina, Texas A&M is only $60 right now. You're telling me you can get that for $40? Man, use that extra money for some popcorn or some glizzies at the game. Yes, use our code SHOWTIMECFB. Thanks, guys.
No, and bouncing off of that, me and Chase both have them in our top 20, maybe even top 15 this next coming week. I don't care if that's a little excessive, but they dominated the number 8 team in the country in Alabama. And I mean, this is for another episode, but it's safe to say if Kalen DeBoer is already on the hot seat, because I know Bama fans will not let 2 years in a row with a 12-team playoff and not being in it slide. But we're talking about the ACC today. Let's jump over to Miami, who had quite the game this week. Honestly, I think, in my opinion, the best game of the week. And it's a huge, huge win for Cristobal. Huge win. He hasn't really been able to finish a game like that really ever in his time at Miami. And kind of already talked about this, but is Beck back? Definitely has some weapons, especially in CJ Daniels and all of the receivers. You got Marion from BYU, and you got some great backs as well, to where Beck has the weapons that he didn't really have, I think, at Georgia to produce these numbers he wants to produce. And going back to Cristobal, this clock management might have been the best I've ever seen from him. They had a 2-minute drill pretty much, and they drove down the field, leaving a minute left for Notre Dame to either score a touchdown and win or get a field goal, but they stopped them. Their defense applied pressure when they needed it, and they completely just killed Carr at the quarterback position for Notre Dame. Now, they do have a 3-game test after next week. They have a kind of a FCS team this week, but they got USF, Florida, a bye week, and then probably college game day at FSU. And then you got some late games in November against SMU and Virginia Tech. I know those teams aren't the greatest. SMU's great, Virginia Tech, not really. But Virginia Tech, late in November, you never know what happens in college football. So definitely a team to look out for, because Cristobal's never really been able to finish a season. Last year, what were they? 9-0, and they finished 9-3, 10-2. Pretty much lost themselves the playoff spot with that game against Syracuse, to where you got to look out for these kind of mid-level opponents in the ACC with Miami, because as the last 5 years have proven, that's where they fall apart. So we're very interested to see if Cristobal can finish his season with the Hurricanes this year.
Yeah, listen, I could be wrong on this stat. I know that Miami has not won an ACC championship. I don't believe they've even been to the ACC championship game. So I don't think they've won a conference championship since the Big East days. So since the 90s Miami Hurricanes. It has been a long time coming. It would be great to see the Miami Hurricanes in the ACC championship. Now, I want to move over to Georgia Tech. This team disrupted Miami's season last year because this team has some substance. They got Haynes King, a quarterback. We talked about Georgia Tech a lot last year because they're actually quite a fun team to watch. I would say Haynes King is probably the most likable, not only quarterback. I wrote quarterback. I think he's probably the most likable player in college football right now. Can't hate the guy.
Yeah.
Can't hate the guy.
Well, I saw this thing. It's like when he starts limping, that's when his like X factor gets activated in like video games. He becomes a different breed, man. He's insane.
He's like limping, and then he just rushes. He just runs a 4-second 40 down the field. It's amazing. He's a get it done winner kind of quarterback. He just makes the right plays. I wouldn't say he's the best passer. I wouldn't say he's the best runner. I don't even know if I would even flirt with top 3 in any of those, top 5 with any of those. He's just such a complete player who wants to win, and it seems like to me he's got quite a bit of humility to rally a team around him. He seems like a cool guy. I really like him. Anyways, they host Clemson in 2 weeks.
Wow, what a game.
Now, if you're watching this video after that game, I wish I was you, because I really want to know what happens in this game. But here's who they avoid in the regular season. They play Clemson. They avoid SMU, Florida State, and Miami. They avoid all of those guys. Now, those are literally the 3 teams we have just talked about. That's what we just talked about. They avoid them all. So this is the schedule is built for these guys. These guys will future tense will be competing for an ACC championship. I don't know if they could hang with Miami. I really hope they can hang with Clemson. If it's in an ACC championship, or Miami in the ACC championship, or Clemson in the regular season. I don't know if they can. I hope they could. But with that schedule, these guys are going to be 8-1 in conference. Most likely, unless they drop one to Duke, or Duke's got a decent squad. They could maybe drop a game. But this team, if they're playing how they're playing, beat Colorado on the road. Yeah, not the craziest opponent right now. Rowdy environment though. Amazing finish. Georgia Tech is firmly in that race.
No, I completely agree with you. That's why I think a lot of people have wondered why Georgia Tech has been so high on our post, on our rankings, on your playoff prediction, on other people's playoff predictions. But it's because of their schedules. Just like SMU last year, they kind of avoid all of the big dogs besides Clemson. So they have a very favorable schedule to where definitely down the road, like Chase said, we could see a few teams with that 8-1 record in ACC play to where
Right.
it is really close. But let's talk about the big dog, Clemson. Chase, what are your thoughts on Clemson after the week 1 loss to LSU?
Yeah, obviously it's a rough start for the guys, but being an ACC team, having that non-conference loss, I'm really not too worried about those ACC championship hopes. I'm still high on this team. Obviously, I thought they would get it done. I was very surprised that they lost to LSU at home. Good game. I didn't lose too much confidence, a little, but not. But I still have them top 10. This is still a great team. But however, this competition for the ACC title has just got the favorites lost and the up and comers won, and now we have 5 teams. I mean, we're leaving out Louisville, we're leaving out Duke, we're leaving out other guys that
Mm-hmm.
could compete. But I mean, we have 5 teams right now that I'm like, wow, Clemson, FSU, Georgia Tech, SMU, Florida State. I mean, sorry, Miami. There is so many teams that could compete for this title. This is exciting, and this Clemson team, do they have what it takes? Of course they do. That
Yeah.
I don't really have to explain myself. They're a contender for the ACC
I
title.
mean, they're Chase's national championship pick right now.
They are.
To
I,
where
I don't know if I'm going to redact that. I mean, I picked it in my preseason. Yeah, don't know how I feel about that right now. Right now, don't know how I feel.
yeah. No, it's totally fine. I mean, it's preseason. We know pretty much next to nothing. But yeah, like Chase said, very close race, but like with their schedule this year, like we just talked about, on the road against Georgia Tech to start ACC play, but they get SMU, they get Duke, and FSU at home. But I think this will have huge playoff implications. At South Carolina to finish the season, I think both those teams, that'll make a huge difference in the seeding if they're both right there, or even on the outskirts. Maybe South Carolina upsets Clemson and they jump in the playoff. We don't know. To where interesting schedule for Clemson, very favorable with a lot of those tough games being at home. But I mean, if they drop these non-conference games, it's kind of like, well, they did win the ACC championship or were in it, but are they really a playoff team? To where the ACC is just so exciting, man. This is the most excited I've been for it in forever.
Yeah, I think the ACC has lacked excitement for a while. With all due respect to all you ACC fans, it's lacked excitement. You guys know it. I would conservatively say now the ACC is more top heavy than the Big 12. The ACC looks as though it's only been 1 week, guys. Chill, 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 chill. I know, but the ACC looks like they're going to be better than the Big 12 this year. Maybe
Yeah.
not as deep still, but the top is so good. I'm taking those top
Mm-hmm.
5 teams over most Big 12 teams, and so the
Yeah.
ACC is kind of back. I'm loving it.
Yeah, no, I'd honestly say this is like the most excited I've been since like the Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson days, to where
Yeah.
it's just fun to have a challenge for Clemson
Yeah,
again, or
especially
FSU.
that Miami actually has won a game, because that's been the problem. We just talked about this. I was always like, yeah, Miami, but they just couldn't win the big games, and now they did. They got one. So I'm excited to see what they can do.
I completely agree. To where I'm excited to see how this pans out. I'm sure like in a month or two, we'll touch back on this topic, to where I'm very excited to see how the ACC turns out this year. Chase, just super quick, pick your ACC championship right
Whoa,
now.
whoa, whoa,
Teams.
whoa, whoa. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna go with something here. Oh my gosh, I wasn't even planning on doing this. You know what? Oh my gosh, give me Miami. I'm taking Miami. This is complete impulsive after week 1. Give me Miami. Taking them.
Wow. Wow.
Hey,
All
Carson,
right.
saying
I like
Carson
it.
Carson Beck is back. I don't think Carson Beck really ever left. I think everyone just hated on him because he was at Georgia. Talked
Yeah,
about it
it's
last
true.
week.
It's true.
His stat line is the exact same as Garrett Nussmeier's last year. It's just your frame of mind. It's just your frame of mind. I think Carson Beck actually
It
is
is. Just your perspective.
great
Just
guy.
your perspective.
Great QB.
I
What about
completely
you?
agree.
What about you?
Wow. Miami. Ah, my gosh, bro.
Act like you're surprised. You just asked me,
I know. Give me FSU. I mean,
dude.
I can't stand FSU, but Castellanos is so fun to watch. And FSU, they have the fire back in them. You know, they got robbed of the playoff, and then they went 2-10, to where I think they have something to prove. They have something to prove, especially their coach, to where
Yeah.
give me the Seminoles.
You know,
Maybe
guys.
give me
Yeah.
the Seminoles over Georgia Tech. I don't even know, bro. I don't even know.
This is nuts. We just talked about it. It's a crazy race. I just picked against my national champion, by the way. So I promise we're good sportscasters and we don't go back on our word. But I'm doubting a lot of what I've seen from Clemson. So
Honestly, I just
give me
like I don't
Miami.
even know what to think right now,
Yeah.
because
Week
there's
1 just
so much
screwed everything
happening.
over.
Ask me again like week 6, and I'll probably have a more
Sure.
content answer. Yeah.
All right, boys. Signing off from show
Time.
College
football.
Let's go.
Good stuff.